Thanks for joining us on another edition of National Focus. I'm Jarna Hector. Coming up, Honorable Prime Minister Skerrit talks development with the private sector. The IRC counter proposes a reduced rate of return for DOMLEC, and the Ministry of Health tackles a strategic plan for alcohol and drug abuse prevention. Details of our headline stories and others after this.
If you can believe this, why can't you believe this?
Uncle tried to make me have sex.
Some mothers don't believe their own children when they say they've been sexually abused, and they don't report it. Remember, if anyone asks to see or touch their private parts, touches them inappropriately, shows them or forces them to touch one's private parts, has sex with them, shows them pornographic material, or deliberately lets them hear or see the act of sex, then it is sexual abuse. Believe your child and report the sexual abuse. For more information about child abuse, contact these agencies. This message brought to you by UNICEF and this station.
Thanks for staying with us. Two matters were set on the table for discussion when Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit met with the private sector on April 29th. Honorable Skerrit noted that it is customary for government to seek the views of nationals on matters of national development. First up for discussion was the 2015 national budget.
In regard to the 2015 budget, the presentation is being done in very much the same context of the recent years. The global challenges continue and the impact continues to be felt in countries around the world, and more so small states like Dominica. We estimate that in 2014, Dominica's GDP grew by 1.1%, led by non-banana agriculture and tourism. It is expected that growth in 2015 will be 2.4%, led by construction, tourism, and agriculture. Since the elections of 2014, government has made it clear that for the economy to grow faster, there must be greater diligence in the implementation of public sector projects, and productivity must increase in both the public and private sectors.
Honorable Skerrit reiterated government's efforts to create an enabling environment in which the private sector can invest. On that note, he set his expectation for the consultation.
In the 2014 budget, a number of measures were announced, all of which have been implemented. This include, among others, the reduction in personal and corporate income tax, increase in exemptions for mortgage interest, and a special tax deduction for firms which created new jobs. Since then, we have made approaches to our partners for low-cost financing, and very soon the aid bank should be in a position to offer, yet again, new loans at concessional interest rates. We have continued to pursue foreign investment, and government has received at least 5 submissions for financing under the Citizenship by Investment program. From the preliminary assessments of these proposals, at least 3 of them seem promising. I expect that in the discussion today, you will inform us of the interventions that you will make towards Dominica's economic and social development.
The second matter concerns a new banking act which government will soon propose to Parliament. This new act will replace the Banking Act of 2005.
Given the wide publicity given to the collapse of CLICO and the resultant demise of British American Insurance, as well as the intervention of one bank in Antigua and 2 banks in Anguilla, the new Banking Act presents some major changes to the current act, which was passed in 2005. I will highlight some of these areas. The central bank will be the licensing agent for issuance of banking licenses, instead of the current arrangement where the Minister for Finance, after consultation with the central bank, issues the license. As such, the application is to be made to the central bank.
A provision to set conditions for receiving a license has also been introduced, and the allowable activities of a licensed financial institution are now stated by the central bank. A register of licensed financial institutions has also been introduced. Several other new provisions and amendments will be introduced. These changes will give the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank the authority to make decisions on matters of the regulation of financial institutions across the Economic Union.
In the 2015 legislation as compared to the 2005 legislation, the Ministers of Finance have delegated or divested their authority to the central bank because we wanted to ensure that the regulation, the supervision, the licensing of the banks are in one central location, so that all matters relating to the monetary union and the financial space could be taken when dealing with any one institution.
Prime Minister Skerrit says it is necessary to introduce corrective and proactive legislation.
All of these measures are being taken to preserve the banking sector and to protect the deposits of depositors. People engaged at the board or management level of a bank will therefore be held more accountable for the performance of these institutions.
The Dominica Hotel Association, the Dominica Association of Industry and Commerce, and the Dominica Export-Import Agency were among groups represented at the consultation. Following its March talks with relevant stakeholders, the Independent Regulatory Commission has announced two major decisions taken at its Board of Commissions meeting on April 23rd. These decisions are with respect to the rate of return which DOMLEC will be allowed on its capital assets from May 1st and the investments which the company will be allowed to undertake for the next 3 years. In November 2014, DOMLEC proposed an 11.6% return on its capital assets and a 14.5% return on equity, the first steps in its tariff review. Lancelot McCaskey, Executive Director of the IRC, made the announcement at a press conference yesterday, April 29th.
At present, DOMLEC enjoys a guaranteed return on equity of 15%. This was put in place before the IRC came on board. In order to maintain that level of return, it requested a return of 14.75% on their equity shareholding. Contrary to DOMLEC's request, the Commission determined that DOMLEC will receive a return on its equity of 10.44%. That is a reduction of 4.56% from its present position. This reduced return becomes operational on May 1st, 2015. Further, as against the 11.6% rate of return on its capital assets requested, the Commission decided that DOMLEC's return on its assets must be 8.56. This will allow DOMLEC to make a profit in the region of $8 million for the next 3 years.
The second decision concerns DOMLEC's Integrated Resource Plan for Dominica's electricity sector. This plan will span from 2014 to 2033. The plan is expected to detail the increasing demand for electricity in the future and how these demands will be met. McCaskey, in outlining this plan, stressed that it is not solely DOMLEC's, but is a national plan which incorporates the views of other electricity stakeholders.
In that plan, the Commission sees new generation capacity coming from geothermal energy, hydro, and solar energy. While it is unlikely that there will be competition for electricity from geothermal energy, both hydro and solar will be open to competition. According to the demand forecast for new generation, new capacity will be needed in 2017 and 2018 and should be satisfied by 1 megawatt of solar energy in 2017 and 7 megawatts and 0.5 megawatt from geothermal and solar respectively in 2018. Of course, while we are aware that geothermal energy is coming, there is still some concern about the timing of its availability. In spite of that, the Commission has accepted that it will be a reality in late 2017.
The IRC also approved the construction of a new 33 kilovolt transmission line from Fokole to Sugarloaf in Portsmouth and another from Loda to Trafalgar to Padu and back to Fokole. This project is estimated at $45 million and is expected to commence in 2016. Additionally, the Commission also approved $8.5 million per year for other enhancement projects to DOMLEC's assets. As to what this will mean for consumers, McCaskey says the IRC still cannot detail exactly how this will affect consumers. He says a decision on new consumer tariffs cannot be made until DOMLEC officially files for a review of its tariff with the IRC. DOMLEC has until June 15th to make this official request. The IRC says these two major decisions are sensitive matters which had to be dealt with before the actual application for tariff review was considered. The next step for DOMLEC is to advertise to the nation their intention to file for a review of tariff for the next 3 years for its consumers. In other news, Vaccination Week of the Americas, which began on May 25th, ends this Saturday, May 2nd. The call for this event is Boost Your Power, Get Vaccinated. According to an official release from the Ministry of Health, the message is that vaccines boost the immune system and help the body fight against more than 20 preventable diseases, making people into superheroes with special powers to defeat illness. Dominica continues to report immunization coverage of the target population of more than 94%. On Wednesday, GIS News sat down with senior community health nurse at the Roseau Health Center, Florestin Luce, who reports that healthcare providers in Dominica are elated to be part of this worldwide observance and notes that just recently, Dominica was declared free of several preventable diseases.
For us in Dominica, we are also very elated because it's only this week we have been trying to be certified free of having congenital rubella, and we have been certified by PAHO, the region of the Americas, as being free of congenital rubella and rubella disease.
Nurse Lewis called on the public to ensure that their entire household is properly vaccinated.
This week we are using the opportunity to remind persons of the importance of being vaccinated and that they should check up on their immunization status. So if you have a baby at home in particular and you're not sure that that baby is fully vaccinated, look at the immunization record that we have given you and call your health center, call your nurse and come in, and we will ensure that that person is vaccinated. We also encourage the adults to come in and get vaccinated because we are aware that some of you out there need to be vaccinated for university purposes, as well as maybe you need your green card and that is a requirement. And so come into your health center and we will offer the vaccines to you.
Immunization corners will be managed and health education sessions are still ongoing at health centers island-wide, along with other activities.
In the Castle Bruce Health District, they will be having in the Sally Bay community in particular a baby appreciation day where we are trying to big up the babies a bit and encourage the mothers who have been very faithful in bringing their children to the health center for vaccines. The babies would be adequately covered for their age. The babies would be breastfed exclusively. The babies will also be doing very well in terms of their growth and development. So these are some of the things that we want to highlight in the Castle Bruce Health District. For Marigot in particularly, the Wesley Village, we will be doing, or they are presently doing today, vaccinations of their preschool children, because some of the preschoolers have not been covered, and so they are doing what we call a mop-up campaign. In the St. Joseph Health District, they will be organizing a workshop for parents that will be done on Friday, where we will give information not just on vaccines but on breastfeeding and other aspects of child care and child development.
To parents who have reservations about immunizing their children, Nurse Luce had this to say.
I would really want to encourage them. They can do the research themselves and see the benefits. And I encourage people not just to Google vaccinations. Go on the approved websites like WHO website, and get the information for yourself, and you will see the benefits, why it is important to vaccinate. Because when you vaccinate, you prevent so many childhood diseases. Because prior to vaccinations, we did have vaccines in the early 1980s, but people were not accepting it as readily as they do now. And we had instances of death in our children. I remember one particular family of 2 children who died from diphtheria, and they only died because they were not vaccinated. And if we can prevent something, then of course run for it. If we had a vaccine for Ebola, I am sure the entire country would run to us and want to be immunized against Ebola. As for HIV and AIDS, if we had a vaccine for it, everybody will want it. So we have vaccines. I know some people are against vaccines and they say it has side effects, but the side effects that we know of are very mild. The little fever that the child gets, or the pain at the site of injection, and a little tenderness in the leg where the child was injected. But just imagine a lifetime free of those diseases, and you save the life of that child compared to a day or 2 of a little discomfort because you have gotten an injection. So the benefits far outweigh the disadvantages, and so I really want to encourage them to come out there and be vaccinated. The vaccines are free and they are given to you without any cost to you.
Vaccination Week in the Americas is an annual hemispheric event endorsed by the Pan American Health Organization. This year, PAHO is observing the 13th anniversary of Vaccination Week of the Americas, while this year also marks the 4th celebration of World Immunization Week. You're watching National Focus. Still to come, Junior Achievement Dominica to host a National Career Symposium.
Did you know the Caribbean Court of Justice is 2 courts in one? The CCJ has 2 functions: an original jurisdiction, which deals with your right to move between CARICOM countries freely and your right to move your money and your business. This is the basis of the CARICOM Single Market and Economy, CSME, and the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas, and an appellate jurisdiction to hear appeals from courts of those countries which decide to use it as their final court of appeal and no longer go to the Privy Council. All CARICOM member states who have signed the agreement establishing the CCJ are members of the CCJ.
Welcome back. The Ministry of Health and Environment and the Pan American Health Organization have partnered to draft a strategic plan for alcohol and drug abuse prevention. Research has shown that substance abuse prevention programs reduce the rates of substance abuse, delay the age of first use, and are cost-effective. On Wednesday, stakeholders met to discuss plans for the proposed draft titled Reducing Risk, Increasing Protection. This event is a first for the Ministry of Health and the Environment. Director of the National Drug Abuse Prevention Program, Jacinta Banes, believes that this plan is imperative as studies show that substance abuse does affect nationals in a wide range of areas.
The consumption of alcohol and other drugs pose serious threat to those affected both directly and indirectly. Families, communities feel the burden of those so affected. I mean, all of us here can identify with a member of our family who is affected by either alcohol or illicit substances. Workplace productivity. On the Monday, people can't come to work because they had a hangover the Sunday night. Non-communicable diseases, and in Dominica we know there's an increase in NCDs, crime and violence, which includes drug trafficking. We see the increase of unlicensed guns and ammunition, drunk driving. I mean, when you look at our traffic crashes, we can relate that to substances. Issues of child abuse incidents, cannot be linked to problems associated or related to drugs and alcohol.
This strategic plan is designed to provide a sustainable long-term framework of goals and priorities to guide decision-making and advance progress towards its vision. The Pan American Health Organization plays a key role in the development and implementation of this strategic plan.
The Pan American Network on Alcohol and Public Health held its first regional meeting in 2012 in Mexico City, at which Dominica was represented. PAHO has accelerated its effort in recent years to increase the awareness of the harm from alcohol consumption and support member states to respond to reduce alcohol-related harm. This consultation today is to bring together various stakeholders to formulate a strategic plan for alcohol and other drug abuse prevention for the next 5 years.
The director of the National Drug Abuse Prevention Unit is soliciting the community's participation.
One of the critical challenges we face is getting communities to see themselves as partners in prevention activities. Very often when you go, they say drug prevention business is not the business. So we would like communities to be more involved, because if we have stronger communities, we will have persons who will be able to go out there and become ambassadors or to help us in the work that we are doing in the area of prevention.
She had this message of encouragement to the public.
We all can play our part in reducing the harmful effects of alcohol and other drugs on the population. Our prevention efforts need to be strengthened, and we can do so by increasing the protective factors, by putting together anti-drug policies, more parental monitoring, and stronger communities.
Private sector businesses are partnering with Junior Achievement Dominica for a National Career Symposium. The event is scheduled for May 1st at the Public Service Union building from 8:30 a.m. 10 students, each representing 8 high schools across the country, will attend the event. Natasha Yiloy-Labad, Executive Director of Junior Achievement Dominica, says the symposium is the highlight of a series of sessions which took place at these 8 high schools. These sessions form part of JA's Economics for Success program, which included training sessions in areas such as career planning, job planning, and goal setting.
All of the students who have been involved in that program have completed 5 sessions specific to that focus area, and they've all been able to develop a personal development portfolio, which is a physical output of their investment, time investment.
Jolly's Pharmacy, Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, First Domestic Insurance, 365 MMP, Queen's Jewelry are among the private sector companies who Labad says have invested significantly with the JA.
We support the GA program because we think it's a solution to one of the problems that we see in terms of the quality of the human resource in Dominica.
We realize that's an opportunity for ECCB to assist junior achievement in building capacity. Besides doing the symposium for the day, we also intend to take on 1 student at our organization for 1 week to assist them in not just theoretical learning, but also learning by doing.
Labad says it costs about $50 to train each student, and this could not be achieved without the contribution of the private sector.
This high level of investment have allowed the students to have access to an online portal that will be a lifelong tool. So that will not go away unless, of course, they probably forget their username or passwords, or there's some crash with, the World Wide Web. Anything is possible. But the idea is that they have this lifelong tool that they would be able to go on and utilize. The students can do a resume on there. They can do their CV, their covering letters, they can fill out sample application forms. There are 3 assessments, and those of you who've invested in HR assessments, you know that these can be quite expensive tools. So your investment has allowed Junior Achievement to be able to invest in that for our students. So even at the high school level, at 3rd form, students start getting assessments on their skills, on their work values, and those things that are going to really make an impact in determining what type of job is best suited to those skill sets that they are developing at school.
At the event, students will be judged on their portfolios and their performance at judged interviews. The top students will be awarded the title of Apprentice for 2015, and the top school will be highlighted as the top school to hire employees. And that's the English segment of the news. McPherson St. Luce is next with the Creole highlights.
Allô tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en créole. Non, moi, c'est McPherson St. Luce. Premièrement, le gouvernement Dominica a fait provision transportation pour négliger l'école Constituency Cottage. Parole cela sorti au Parlement, Honorable Reginald Ostring.
Nous tenions l'autre problème pour taper les enfants dans l'école, especially c'est les PSS. Parce que ce n'est pas tout boss driver qui a mis des enfants à l'école, pour 10 000 prix, ça peut un gros monde pour gros prix. Comme ça, nous avons arrivé à l'école tard, nous pas aller à l'école. Comme ça, les moins faire représentation pour le Premier ministre là, et nos commitment. Et nous 3 ou 4 boss qui achètent les enfants à l'école PSS tous les jours, qui achètent descendre, et qui achètent monter, et le gouvernement qui paye pour ça. Les enfants qui ont les collèges aussi, ils ont une challenge, ils ont l'argent, ils n'ont pas de salaire, les parents n'ont pas de salaire, et nous faisons un arrangement qui nous avons un stipend, un transportation stipend, nous avons payé school fees, nous avons uniforme, nous avons des gens parce que nous savons si nous quittons ça assez contre maman et papa, ils n'ont pas que ça fait. Comme ça, le gouvernement là même, malgré nous pas obligé de faire, mais nous avons une responsabilité. Quand Labour Party, un parti socialiste, un parti qui a gardé contre les gens malheureux, les gens pauvres, et nous avons une responsabilité et nous avons un commitment qui nous est toujours là pour double derrière, pour travailler avec eux, et pour faire la vie, mais qui est si nous ne pas nous de la main.
En d'autres nouvelles, le département de Dominica a tapé assistance Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, pour formuler un plan national qui est servi pour combattre l'abusement alcool et puis drogue en Dominique. Parole cela sur le chef du département la Jacinta Barnes pendant un workshop qui mène plusieurs stakeholders formuler le plan cela.
Nous avons Mme Chodia Gossine qui a aidé nous à faciliter le processus là. Et puis après nous finissons, puis even avant ça, nous avons joint pour 3 jours qu'à travailler en les documents là. So, aujourd'hui, nous avons amené ces mêmes stakeholders là pour nous plus d'informations. So, nous mettons en plan ça. Là, nous mettons en plan ça, nous servons comme un working document pour assister nous en travail dans le café. But, ou pas là, on est gardé, ça qu'a fait un pays nous, un pays Dominique. Nous savons nous avons un problème et puis alcool et puis nous avons un problème et puis drogue en pays. So nous devons faire quelque chose pour minimiser un problème ça là.
En la nouvelle, National Youth Council Dominique, ça c'est Conseil National Jeunes Dominique, c'est agreement et puis Junior Achievers pour collaboration qui assiste les GNSP et puis développement ailleurs. Junior Achievers Programme qui commence dès l'année qui passe, catégorie jeunesse affaires financières, c'est-à-dire avec l'argent, éducation entreprise et puis ça fait en l'État qui ça facilite au tapis de travail. Executive Director Natasha Eloy Labad et puis Chairman Orlando Richards qui a bien supporté l'initiative cela. Richards fait parole qui collaboration cela qui bénéficie Conseil Jeunes National et puis Junior Achievers contre tous les 2 organisations là, catégorie GNSP là. Président Conseil National Dominique, Jean Jean, sénateur Jaïsaïa Benoît, fait parole qui collaboration cela bien historique pour le développement jeunesse en pays là. Et puis finalement, le ministre de l'Agriculture a reçu assistance au consultant qui a assisté au travail et puis industrie là, qui a concerné la production figue. Parole cela sur le ministre de l'Agriculture, Honorable Johnson Drango.
Quand nous avons parlé, M. Lance Février, il a travaillé avec nous, à ça fait figue là. Et c'est un monde qui est venu comme un consultant pour aider nous, à ça fait c'est plan figue là nous recevons et aussi pour aider nous à ça fait selection of ces pharmacies là pour nous ça mettre ces plan figue ça en terre et puis qui est nous pour 6 mois qui aide nous aider travailler puis ces pharmacies là pour relever le secteur figue là.
Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelles en créole pour à présent. Non, moi c'est McPherson St. Luce. Au revoir.
Coming up next, an easy way to determine good and bad batteries.
Wash your hands. I am Adora Tuse, health educator from the Ministry of Health. Proper hand washing protects against the spread of many common illnesses and germs. Wash your hands often with soap and water, or you may use a hand sanitizer. Remember, clean hands save lives. Protect yourself.
A message from the Health Promotion of the Ministry of Health.
It's a tedious task to determine whether batteries in your home are still functional. An easy way to test is to bounce the battery. Drop it on the table from about 6 inches. If it gives one small bounce and falls over, then it's good. But if it bounces around any more than that, it's no good. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website news.gov.dm. Like our Facebook page, facebook.com/GIS News Dominica, and follow our Twitter at GIS Dominica. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. From all of us here on the GIS News production team, I'm Jarna Hector. Thank you for watching and join us again next time on National Focus.